One key issue that you got to remember is before you interview, you really have to get in the right mindset. Take a moment to clear your mind of stereotypes, both good and bad.
It's so important, particularly for new law enforcement officers, to be aware that ageism exists and that for us it might be an unconscious bias. So checking yourself to say, what do I think about aging? What do I think about older adults before I go into that interview, and having that self-awareness is critically important. There's a lot of myths around older adults, that all older adults are confused, they don't have any kind of memory that you can work with, they've got hearing problems, and that can happen, but most older adults are clear thinking and are spot on.
One of the biggest mistakes I think we can make is assuming that just because somebody is 85 years of age or older, therefore statements that they make are unreliable. No. And even when somebody may appear to be a little confused, maybe a little inconsistent with the way they are retelling what happened to them, those issues can be explained sometimes with corroborative evidence. So I think we make a big mistake if we simply, at the outset, think, this person's not going to give me too much because, look, they're 85 years of age. That's wrong.
Interview location is a surprisingly important part of interviewing an older adult. The interview surroundings need to be both physically inviting and sort of emotionally inviting as well.
Do your homework before you arrive at the scene. Talk to neighbors, caregivers, caretakers, friends. If you can talk to medical doctors, if you consent to talk to them, that's important. Adult Protective Services may already be involved. Discuss with them. Try to get as much intelligence about them that you possibly can.
One way in which an officer can really help the prosecutor and get them the best out of an interview is to do homework. Does the victim have certain deficiencies? For example, hearing deficiencies. Does the victim respond better at a certain time of day? Does the victim require glasses to read documents? Because I may be presenting the victim with some forged documents and I want them to examine them carefully.
The right time and place to interview an older adult may depend on that individual's specific needs. If that older adult has a caregiver or somebody else living in their household, you might inquire what time of day that older adult is most alert, or if they're taking any medications that cause drowsiness or confusion after being taken. When speaking directly with the older adult, you can ask if they feel comfortable speaking where they presently are, or if moving somewhere else within the vicinity would make them feel more comfortable.
It is very, very important to separate the victim from the suspect and anybody else that may be in the home. The ability of some other person, a suspect, to control this person is always there. Get them away from hearing range, but visual range as well.
You know, one thing I've seen is that officers don't sometimes realize how intimidating they are, especially because they're lots of times pretty tall people and can tower over and really scare folks. So I think being at the same eye level communicates that I'm with you, I care about you. And I think one of the special things about interviewing older adults is no matter how busy we are, sitting down and really being present for that person so that they know at that moment the only reason in the world you exist is to hear what they have to say. There's lots of things we can do to make an older adult feel comfortable. The environment that they're in, making sure that they feel secure, that there aren't people around who might be intimidating to them, that we're just sitting across from each other and making eye contact, letting them know that you are there for them and in their corner, I think is very important to do and allows them to relax a little bit. The other important technique is to not dive right into the questions.
Number one, talk to the older adult at eye level, never towering over, and sit close enough so that way they can see you and hear you, but not invading their personal space. Number two, when referring to the offender, never denigrate the offender, or at least follow the victim's lead. Number three, Pay attention to signs of discomfort and adjust the interview accordingly. Number 4, address fears up front. Number 5, avoid or reduce free recall, speed, complexity of sentences, multitasking, distractions, and assembling.
At the end of the interview, it's really important to not only thank but reassure the older adult. Depending on what you heard them say, the reassurance might be, here are the next steps if you know what they are, or just letting them know, right now I'm not sure what the next steps are going to be, but I'm going to let you know so that you're informed every step of the way.
Give that victim as much support as they need and want. Again, you educate yourself as to what is out in your community that will aid your victims: elder abuse, domestic violence, child abuse. Find out what services are out there for them. So when you leave that home, you will provide and give that victim information that you know will be valuable information that they can use after you're gone.
As I look back at my 22 years of working with detectives on these kinds of cases, I really appreciated detectives who were prepared not to work in isolation, that detectives who understood the benefit for all of us of working as part of a multidisciplinary team approach. Detectives who were not afraid to learn from adult protective service caseworkers, who were not afraid to go on a drive along with an adult protective service worker to learn techniques of interview. Detectives who were not afraid to call a prosecutor at an early stage of the investigation and actually ask for advice on which way to take the investigation. And that way, I believe, is the way of success.